Okay, for this project I'm using a Lion Brand Landscapes, which is a medium weight 4-ply 100% acrylic. It's kind of similar to Red Heart Boutique, but you don't have to use this. Any type of 4-ply yarn will work. The color I'm using is Apple Orchard. I've never seen this color before, so I had to get it. I have that problem if I go and I see color I never have. I always have to get it. And I'm going to be using a size I, which is a 5.5mm crochet hook. And you want to start out with a chain of 81. If you want to make yours bigger or smaller, the stitch is done in a multiple of 2 plus 5. Which means your beginning chain needs to be divisible by 2, and then you add 5 more. But for my size, you want to start out with a chain of 81. And now we're going to do, this is going to be done with V stitches. So we're going to work a V stitch in the 5th chain from the hook. So we don't count the one that's on our hook. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5th one we're going to work a V stitch, and what that is go right into it and do a double crochet, a chain 1, and then go right back into that same stitch and do another double crochet. So that's the V stitch. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all into the same stitch. Now we're going to skip 1 stitch, and in the next stitch I'm going to do another V stitch. So skip 1, and in the next one I'm going to do a double crochet, a chain 1, and another double crochet, just like that. Now I'm going to skip a stitch, and I'm going to V stitch in the next. So I'm going to go double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet, all into that same spot. And that's the kind of the repeat. Now I'm going to skip a stitch and V stitch into the next. So skip this one, and the next one I'm going to do a double crochet, a chain 1, and another double crochet, all into the same stitch, like that. Skip the next one and V stitch into the next, double, chain 1, and double. Skip a stitch, V stitch into the next, and I'm just going to repeat this until I get to the end of my chain. Skip the next one, V stitch into the next, just like that. So I'm going to continue along for the length of my chain. Okay, when you make it to the end and you have 2 stitches left, you want to skip this one, and we're not going to do a V in the last one. We're going to put a double crochet into the last one. Just like that. So you should have that double crochet on the end, and then you should have 38 V stitches all along this chain. And when you get over here to the other end, remember when we started and we put we started the V in the fifth stitch from the chain? Well, here's this chain on the other end, and that's acting as a double crochet on the opposite end. So we got this chain that's acting as a double crochet, and then 38 V's, and then the double crochet on this end. So now we're going to start again by chaining 1 and turning, and I'm going to put a double crochet right back in the same stitch. So this right here in this double crochet, I'm going to put a double crochet, just like that. And now we're going to be working in the chain 1 spaces of each of these V stitches. So here's the first V stitch. I'm going to be working right here in this space, and I'm going to put another V-stitch. So I'm just going to go ahead and, after I did my double crochet, go right through it and do a V-stitch. So I'm going to double crochet, chain 1, and do another double crochet all through that space. Just like that. So it's a V-stitch on top of V-stitch. Now I'm going to jump over to my next V-stitch, which is right here. And right through this space, I'm going to do another V. So I'm going to go through and double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. Just like that. Again, I'm going to jump to my next V-stitch right here and do a V-stitch through the space, double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. And I'm just going to repeat this all the way down. It's just doing a V-stitch in the chain 1 space of each V-stitch. So there's the V-stitch there. So I'm going to yarn over, go through the space, double crochet, chain 1, go back into the same spot and double crochet, and that makes my V again. The next V-stitch right here, right through the space of it, double crochet, chain 1, and another double crochet. Just like that. My next V-stitch, again, put a V-stitch right through the space of it. And I'm going to repeat this all the way down. And when you get to the end, you still should have 38 V-stitches like we did on the last row. Okay, when you make it to the end and you just did your last V-stitch there, and we have this little chain here at the end, we're just going to put a double crochet right here in the top of it. Just yarn over and go right in the top of that chain there on the end and double crochet. Just like that. Now I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work, and I'm going to repeat that row again. So I'm going to double crochet right here in this very first stitch, so right here in this spot, right in it, and double crochet like that. And now right here in this V-stitch, I'm going to put another V-stitch. So I'm going to double crochet through it, chain 1, and double crochet. So that was a V-stitch in that V-stitch. So what I'm doing, and I'm just keeping the V-stitches lined up. Jump to the next V-stitch right here through the center and do another V-stitch, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Again, this next stitch here, and V-stitch in it, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And I'm going to do this all the way to the end. V-stitch into the next V-stitch, oh, I messed that one up. Like that. And the next V-stitch, V-stitch in it. And you still should be keeping 38 V-stitches each row. So I'm going to repeat that all the way to the end. And when I get to the end, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to double crochet into the top of this double crochet at the end. And then I'll chain 1 and turn. And start out with the double crochet. And then V-stitch again in the chain space of every V-stitch. And I'm going to do that until I have a total of 5 rows. So right now we're working on our 3rd row. So we got 1, 2, and we're working on our 3rd. We want a total of 5 rows like this. Okay, once you got your 5 rows done, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I just did my double crochet there at the end. Now we're going to do I don't know what it's called, but a row of, I call it double V stitches, but I'll show you what we're going to do. We're going to chain 1 and turn, and then we're going to go ahead and double crochet right back into that same stitch, just like always. Now we're still going to be working in the V-stitch chain spaces. Now what we're going to do in this first one, this is what I call a double V. I don't even know if that's correct, but I go in it and I put 2 double crochets. So there's 1 and 2, and then I'll do a chain of 2, and then I'll go back in and I'll put 2 more double crochets. So it's 2 double crochets, a chain 2, and 2 more double crochets, all into that same stitch. And by doing this all the way across, it's going to start gradually increasing the shawl, so it'll get wider and go over your shoulders a little bit better. So now I'm just going to jump to the next V stitch here, and I'm going to do that double V stitch again. I'm going to go right into the chain space of it, and I'm going to double crochet twice, and then I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to go right back in the same chain space and do 2 more doubles. 1 and 2, just like that. So it's 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles. And now I'm going to go to the next V stitch, and right here in the chain space I'm going to do my double V again. So I'm going to go right through and do 1, 2 doubles, chain of 2, and 2 more doubles right back in the same spot. And I'm going to be working this double V stitch in every single one of the V-stitch spaces from the previous row. So it's just like we've been doing, only we're just doing the double V's this time instead of the single regular V's. So I'm going to go all the way down, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, when you make it to the end, you still should have the same number of V stitches as we have been having for all the other rows, 38. And now what you want to do when you get to the end is you just want to double crochet right here and the double crochet at the end, just like before, like that. And we're going to chain 1 and turn, and now we're just going to repeat that row. So we're going to go ahead and double crochet right back into the first double crochet there, and then we're going to do a double V stitch right here in the chain space of the next V stitch. So we're going to go ahead and put 2 doubles, chain 2, and 2 more doubles, all into that same space. So we're just repeating the row that we just did, like that. And then we jump to the next V stitch right here, and right through that chain space we're going to do another double V stitch, 2 doubles, chain 2, and 2 more doubles. And you just want to repeat that to the end of the row, and then again you just end it with a double crochet, and then chain 1, turn, and start another row. Now we want to have a total of 6 rows of the double V stitch rows. So we did our first one and we're working on our second, so we want a total of 6 rows of the double V. So we got the 5 of the single V stitch, and then we're going to do 6 of the double, so we'll have 11 total when I meet back up with you. Okay, I did my 6 rows of the double V's, so I have a total of 11 rows now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of just the regular single V stitches, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the double V stitches. And I bet you can guess what's going to come next. Triple V stitches. So we're going to do that. We're going to start by chaining 1, and we're going to turn our work. Starting to get big, so bear with me here. I don't have much counter space here. Okay, and now we're just going to go right ahead, right back into the same stitch and double crochet, just like we normally would. And you can probably guess how the triple V stitch is done. And don't hold me to that as that being what it's really called. That's just what I call it. So, okay, working right here in this chain 2 space, we're going to put 3 double crochets. So there's 1, 2, and 3. But we're just going to do a chain 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to go back into that same space and put 3 more double crochets. So that's what I call a triple V-stitch. 3 doubles, a chain 2, and 3 more doubles, all into that same space. And what that's going to do is it's going to make it wider even yet. It's going to make it flare out even more. So that's what we're going to do in every one of these V-stitches on this row. So we're going to jump right here to the center of this next V-stitch and do a triple V-stitch. Go right through it and do 3 doubles. There's 1, 2, 3, chain 2, and then 3 more doubles in the same spot. 1, 2, and 3. Just like that. So we're going to do that all the way to the end of the row. Triple V-stitch in every one of the chain 2 spaces from the V-stitches from the previous row. So all the way to the end, and I'll meet you down there at the end. Okay, when you make it to the end of the row, again, we're just going to double crochet down here in the top of this double crochet, just like before. And then we're just going to, again, chain 1 and turn, and we're going to repeat this row now for several rows. So again, we just go ahead and double crochet right back into that same stitch. And then we do our triple V-stitch right here in this chain space. So there's 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2, 3, like that. And then we jump to the next one, the space here, and do it again. 1 double, 2 doubles, 3 doubles, chain 2, back in the same space, and put 3 more doubles. 1, 2, and 3. So we're just going to keep repeating that last row we did with the triple V-stitches all the way down to the end of the row. And then you double crochet here at the end, just like we did before. Chain 1 and turn, double crochet back in the same stitch, and repeat it again. And we're just going to keep doing that back and forth. Okay, now I went ahead and did 9 rows of the triple V-stitches. So we did 5 of the single, and then we did 6 of the double, and then I did 9 more of the triple, so you should have a total of 20 rows right now. Now if you want to do yours longer, because I'm just making like a cape shawl type thing, if you want to make it longer, you can just keep doing this triple crochet row for as long as you want, but you will need more yarn than what I said in the beginning. So, but if you want to do it like me, I just stopped after 9 rows of these triple V-stitches, and now I'm going to put a row of edging on, and this is what I'm going to do for that here. So what I'm going to do now is this chain 1 and turn, and go ahead and put a double crochet right here into that first double crochet, just like we've been doing before. Okay, now I'm going to be working in the chain 2 spaces still, and what I'm going to be putting in here is 7 double crochets and 3 picots. So how I'm going to do it is I'm going to go ahead and put 2 double crochets right through the space. So there's 1, 2. Now I'm going to put a picot on this one. So I'm going to chain 3, 2, 3, and I'm going to go back down and slip stitch. Some people slip stitch into the first stitch. I like to grab this side stitch. It's 2 side stitches, and then slip stitch, and that'll form a little point, and that's your picot stitch. Now I'm going to go back through the same spot still and work 2 more double crochets. 1, 2, and I'm going to put a picot again on this one, so I'm going to chain 3, come back down and slip stitch. I always grab these little side stitches here, and that'll form the picot. And now I'm going to put 2 more again, double crochets. There's 1, 2, and now I'm going to put a picot again, so I'm going to chain 3, and then come back down and slip stitch, and that'll form the point of the picot. And now I'm just going to end it with 1 double crochet. And that's what you have. You have 7 double crochets, and then there's 3 picots in between them. So now I'm going to go do this again, exact same thing, in every single one of these chain spaces of the triple V's. So I'm going to jump over, I'm going to put 2 double crochets. So there's 1, 2, and now I'm going to chain 3, chain 3, go down and slip stitch kind of in the side like that to do the picot. Now I'm going to put 2 more doubles, 1, 2, and then I'm going to chain 3, go back down, slip stitch right through the side again, and that is your second picot. And now I'm going to do 2 more doubles again, 1, 2, and then I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, come back down and slip stitch to form your last picot, and now I'm just going to go and put 1 double crochet in it to end it. So now you got 7 double crochets and 3 picots. And now I'm going to jump to the next stitch, the next chain 2 space here in between the triple V, and I'm going to do it again. So 2 doubles, 1, 2, chain 3, come back down and slip stitch for your first picot, and I'm going to do 2 more doubles, 1, 2, then I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, come back down and slip stitch to form your second picot, and now I'm going to do 2 more doubles, 1, 2, chain 3, come back down and slip stitch for your last picot, and then 1 more double crochet at the end. So that is how I'm doing the edging. Like that. And I'm going to do the same thing in every one of the chain 2 spaces of the triple V until I get to the end. And again, you still should have 38 of these little shell picot things when you get to the end. I just did my last little edging stitch, and what I want to do is go ahead and double crochet into the double crochet down here, just like we've been normally doing, to end that round. Now to finish, I'm just going to do single crochet up the edge and then around the neck of the shawl, and then back down the other edge, just to clean up the edges. So I'm not going to tie off. What I'm going to do is start with the chain 1, and then I'm going to work evenly space out my single crochets all the way down the side. So I'm just going to kind of, and I know it's kind of hard to tell where the single crochets go. I always kind of just say wherever there's a double crochet, there'll be 2 single crochets. So that, like, kind of in the sides of the doubles, that's the best way I can kind of explain how to kind of space them out. 2 singles to every double that's on the side. Just like this. And this is just going to make the edge of it look nice and straight. in the neck of it. So just kind of like that. And I'm going to do that, like I said, all the way up this side. And then I'm going to do it around the neck, which you'll be able to see the single crochet space is pretty good around the neck of the shawl. It's so big, I'm sorry. And then I'm going to do it back down the side. You make it up to the side here and you're at the top corner before you start doing around the neck here. I'm going to go ahead and put 3 single crochets up here in this top corner stitch. That way it kind of makes it lay a little bit flatter. So I'm going to put 3 in that same top stitch. There's 2 and 3. And now I'm just going to continue working across the neck here, putting 1 single crochet in every stitch. And again, you can see these stitches a lot better than you can down the sides. And then I'm going to do it all the way across the neck, and then when I get to the corner of the other neck over here, or the other end of it, I'll put 3 single crochets in this corner, and then I'm just going to work my way down, putting 1 single crochet down the opposite side until I get down here to the end. Okay, when you make it all the way down the other side, all you want to do is, here's my shell, and I did a single crochet here. I'm just going to go and slip stitch right here just to end it. It's kind of the first double crochet of this shell, and that will kind of tie that off then, and then that's it. Then you can be done. Now if you want to add a button or anything to hold it together, you can. I have a shawl pin that I'm going to use, but that's it. That's all there is to it. I'm going to hide all these tails when I'll be finished. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to check me out on Facebook. You can post all your crochet items on there. I'd really like to see a picture of them. And you can check me out on Etsy and follow me on Twitter. And I'll put all the links to all that stuff below in the description box. And until next time, have a good day.